Thank you for joining us today. I am Jasmine Sandler. I am the founder and host of Warrior Women in Business. For those of you that don't know who we are, you should. We are a women's media company that has a true mission about having women collaborate and win. So we support female executives and female entrepreneurs, as well as female artists in the area of branding, business, and career development. And I am very excited to have my guest on today. I was actually a guest on her podcast, so it was really fun, and I got to know her. And for those of you that have been talking to at different events, there's a couple things that we're going to talk about today, which my guest is an expert in. And one is we're going to talk about the imposter syndrome, which I don't know too much about, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. And we're also going to talk about women doing international business. So it's 12 o'clock where I am, 9 a.m. where our Warrior Women in Business LA peers are, and where Pinky is, it's 5 p.m., right, in the UK. So this is all about doing international business, which isn't easy. We have to work around time zones, and we have to do what Pinky and I talked about on her great show, which is collaboration. So Pinky, say hello.
Hi, nice to be here. It's so good to reconnect and be on your podcast. This is really exciting. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. We're excited to have you as well. So we're gonna, as everyone knows who was on last week, listening and watching last week, we've gone to what I call a fast track format. It used to be over an hour. Now we're doing 30-minute segments every Wednesday, 12 noon New York time, 9 a.m. LA time, and obviously 5 p.m. UK time. So it's going to be pretty rapid, but we're going to give ourselves time to breathe, as we talked about last week on our mental health awareness podcast with Theo Amato, which was fantastic. But before I get into this, just a couple things I want to announce. First and foremost, I want to thank MXL Microphones for these headphones and my new podcast setup. Met them while I was speaking at NAMM in Anaheim in April, and they said to me, we want to support women in business. So here it is. So thank you, MXL. And stay till the end, because I'm going to be announcing some cool giveaways, some gifts, and some cool events coming up on both coasts. So with that being said, the first thing I want to ask you about, Pinky, is, I ask all my guests to tell us, I know it's a little cliche, but it's very important, right? Because I have found in my work and in all these episodes that women come from all different places to where they are today in their mission to help other women. So can you talk to us about your specific journey? If you have any experience in corporate, talk about that. Experience as an entrepreneur, we want to hear about that. So talk to us about how you got here today and your mission a little bit.
Wow, that's a big question. How long have you got? Like, literally.
Well, the first question is the most important one. So I'll give you 3 to 4 minutes.
Okay. So I started my journey, my career as an optometrist. I went to university, did the kind of standard thing. The reason why I chose that career path was because I'm from a family of very professionally minded people who really think about, well, if you're going to go to university, you got to come out with a job. So you don't go to university just to go to university. You go there to either be a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant. Otherwise, you don't bother going. So I picked a safe option, as they call it. And I think really coming from my culture and coming from the background that I'm from, and being the first generation born in the UK, it was a different upbringing. It was definitely that you can't do that. You can't go out. Girls aren't allowed to go out. Girls aren't allowed to do certain things.
Interesting.
And so I grew up in that environment and was really confused, but also at the same time didn't really fit in. I went to a school that was all white girls. I was the only brown girl in my school. I felt like always like I didn't belong, I didn't fit in. And I always found myself in crowds where even when I hung out with people that looked like me, I didn't fit in there. And even when I hung out with people that, didn't look like me, I also didn't fit in there. So there was a really interesting story on that side, but I've always struggled with imposter syndrome. And so,
Can you define that for those people that don't know what that is?
sure. So imposter syndrome is when someone is confident and successful and convinces themselves that they aren't enough, despite all of the external evidence. So you might be amazingly confident, amazingly good at what you do. You've got your qualifications, you've done your hard work, and even still you feel like you don't deserve it. You aren't enough. And so it's a situation which affects many of us. It's not just women, although when it was first discovered by psychologists back in 1978, two women decided that it was a phenomenon. But at that point, it was really focused around women and how women struggle with it. But actually, I've met men who have now become my clients also struggle with imposter syndrome. So it's across the board. And I think it's whenever you push yourself out of your comfort zone, this little voice pops up in your head and tells you that you're not good enough to try and keep you safe. But there's other many reasons around it. But yeah, going back on my story, I went to university, came out of university, then decided to be a coach. And the reason for that, and it's completely, left, right wing, it's just completely on a tangent. I was just like, okay, I'm just going to be a coach. That's it. My clients were coming to see me and were telling me things they would have never shared with anyone before. So what I was finding was they were coming in not just to see me for their eyes and to have their eyes fixed, but they were coming in to share stories about their lives and how, business isn't doing well. I'm not progressing in my career. I'm struggling as an entrepreneur, and, getting that feeling of I was giving them that space to come and share with me certain things they would never share with anyone else, not even their partner, their loved ones, their partners, their husbands, wives. And so I thought, this is great for me to be able to give back to the world and become an inclusive leadership coach and talk about imposter syndrome, because so many people are struggling with what I struggled with. And so at the time I was married, I got divorced and moved to Edinburgh and started my business. And here I am today. And then from that, I created Netwomen, which is a community which helps people to really shine, see their true potential. But also organizations need to recognize that women are their biggest asset, and that they need to think about involving more women in leadership. So our mission is to create that 50-50 split at the top to help more women get there. Not just white women from underrepresented groups, women from all the protected characteristics that you can think of. This all provides that diversity of thought and diversity of leadership. And that's what we want to do. And our mission is to elevate 1 million people in 5 years, which is why I'm doing crazy things like coming on podcasts on the other side of the world.
Exactly. A few things that you talked about that we touched on, I think, and when I was a guest on your podcast, that I think are important. And I think that we have similar missions, very similar. I have a 1 billion sign on my whiteboard next to me in terms of influence. Right? I can't do it alone. I need to work with other like-minded women's organizations around the world to make this happen. So I think a couple of things I want to kind of comment on, but I love what you said, especially the piece about your clients trusting you. And I have the same thing. I do branding for female executives, female entrepreneurs. And it's interesting the things that they tell me that have nothing to do with branding and marketing. And I listen and I listen. And as I'm listening, I think if more women spoke out about their issues and their struggles about getting ahead, whether it's an entrepreneur, which is a very difficult world, or it's an executive, it's also a difficult world. So I think it is important that women speak out. And I love that we're giving the forum, you're giving the forum to do that, So talk a little bit about the community piece that you touched upon, because I really want to talk about this today. Today's podcast to me is extremely important. I feel like I have my sister in the UK. So talk a little bit about that community piece and help like my audience visualize what that community build, that community support looks like with Netwomen.
I think for me, if you imagine a place that's a bit like LinkedIn for women, that's what we are. We have not only the safe space where you can come and have the conversations that you don't normally talk about, and that's the same as with our podcast, it's the same theme. But at the same time, you can meet not only your role model, but you might have a mentee there or a coachee or somebody there that you want to help and elevate them.
Yeah.
It's about women helping each other, and it's about collaboration. I remember when you came on my podcast not so long ago, we talked about collaboration on how many levels that women fail on this piece on collaboration, about growth and about collaboration. And I feel that if we were more collaborative as men are, we would be able to reach immense levels of leadership, of levels of power. It's just a shame that I see so many women coming to me saying it was actually a female manager, a female CEO that held me back from promotion, that held me back from elevating myself and from getting to the top, using other people's ideas and keeping them as your own. I mean, how many times you've heard this as well?
Oh, I've experienced that in my career. Sure.
Yeah. And so for me, community is about building each other up. It's about inspiring, supporting, including. And we have 3 events that we do every single month, which is group coaching, the Leaders Connect Roundtable, which is about the mentorship and the support from role models, but also reverse mentoring, right? How much can we learn from our younger counterparts, from our entry-level people who've got so many inspiring ideas?
Absolutely.
And they need to be learning from each other. And then the third and final event is our panel discussion, where we invite inspirational speakers to come along and be a part of our community, but also share their expertise and their knowledge. And that really forms a part of our membership, but also we have our educational tech platform, which has our 120 skill sharing videos where you can come and learn whenever you want. And so that's what we do.
Okay, so I had another question, but I'm going to supersede that by this question. So are there a couple of, because I see this too, and my last guest actually came to see me yesterday in our new office, and we're planning an event together. And she came to see me, this is the point, it's not close to her, because we really want to collaborate. So we are about action, hence my poster behind me, right? It's all, Warrior Women is all about action, action, action. So what tips, like it doesn't need to, 1, 2, 3 tips, whatever you want to give, that someone could do today, a woman can do today to start collaborating with another woman?
I think the first thing is communication. I think that is really important. Listen to what somebody is asking of you, but also at the same time, be that proactive listener. Be that person. What are they actually saying? What is behind that need or that request they have? Be a coach. Be that person that you want to help and support other people. And that side of things really helps me, and it helps me guide my coachees and my clients. But the other thing is that attitude of giving. One of the things that I have learned along my journey is when you give and you don't expect anything in return is where your biggest growth will be, where you don't even know where it's going to come from.
Yeah.
You know, you invite people to come into your space and say, come in for free. you don't know where that's going to go. Everybody gets a chance to come to Netwomen for free once, because it's important that they hear, they see, they genuinely feel the value of what we're providing. And then you decide, right? It's up to you. But with that model, it's helped me really grow and really see that ability for other women. When I look at other women who are within the community and they're collaborating with each other, that's what I want. That's what I want to happen.
Yeah.
Across the pond. You know, when we incorporated in the US 9 months ago, I wanted that. I wanted the US and the UK connection. I wanted the Canadian connection. So I don't see how distance is a problem anymore. I feel that since COVID, since the pandemic, we've all become so much closer as a
Agreed.
matter.
Agreed. And thank you for that. I was gonna ask you about doing business internationally. You know, it's a it's definitely a mission, not of all female entrepreneurs, but of a lot of female entrepreneurs, including myself, other entrepreneurs I work with. You know, we want to do business internationally, but sometimes it's difficult, even if we have this technology, right? A lot of times I find that meeting clients face to face goes further. Body language is a pretty important thing, especially in my world. So talk about a little bit about how you've seen success in doing business internationally with other women. It could be men, because I know a lot of people in my audience, women in my audience, are interested in doing that. And maybe they are afraid of doing it. Maybe they feel like they don't have the support on the other side. So you can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so when I first started Netwomen, it was very much about supporting entrepreneurs. And women were coming onto the platform, onto our events that we were holding. And they could be anywhere in the world. They could be in the US, they could be, Far East, or even Australia or New Zealand.
Mhm.
And the exciting thing about why you're there is the same as why everybody else is there. Everybody wants to be there because they want to do business internationally. And that's why Netwomen works so well, because we've all got a shared mission. And when I share my mission about 50-50 split, it's not just about corporate organizations. We haven't even reached gender parity in society, let alone in organizations. So when we start from organizations, it's how are we going to get that trickle effect all the way down? And how will it affect society when we start talking about flexible working, when we start talking about hybrid working, all of those good things around it? And then the main thing comes up, which is caregiving. We, as women, we still have 60% of childcare, caregiving responsibility. That needs to change.
Yeah.
So I think that's what you're asking about. How can we do business internationally without feeling the fear and feeling like an imposter?
Right,
And
exactly. The main thing I think is fear and connections. I've seen, this comes from my experience in dealing with other entrepreneurs. You know, they kind of they have their niche, their area, and they might be afraid to step out of it. And, you know, I think that's how we connected, right? Through the global chamber. So
right.
yes, that's actually how we connected. We were both members of the global chamber. I'm on the board in New York and LA, and that's helped me to find people to work with. So, yeah, I think it's the community. I love the fact that you talked about the community, and that yes, technology has opened up the floodgates to connect internationally. But I think for the entrepreneurs, not the members, but the entrepreneurs that really want to build businesses internationally, I think it is really about connecting with other resources and understanding how they've done it so that they can possibly erase the fear, right?
Yeah, and also it's absolutely about learning from each other. If you go into this thinking, I'm going to learn as I go along, and I'm going to learn and keep my mind open, because every single country has its own culture.
Mhm.
Even though we might speak the same language, there's a different culture. And therefore, you have to be open, listen, communicate, give, all those things that I talked about, but also keep an open mind, because not everybody thinks the same as you.
No one does. I'd
No.
say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that will be the formula for success. And I definitely think that collaborating with other organizations around the world is another really important thing to do. Stepping outside of your comfort zone, you know?
I'm ready to get on a plane and come see you. We were talking about that. I would love to do an event together in the UK. Actually, Edinburgh is gorgeous. Wouldn't mind
It
going there. It's the greenest place I've ever been. So I have to
is,
say.
it is
Oh,
most definitely green.
yeah, it's very green. Okay, so we only have a few minutes left before I get into some announcements. So I always ask my guests this question, and every answer is different. That's why I love the question. When I asked you to be on the podcast, I want to let the audience know, I didn't even say it up front. We met through the Global Chamber. I gotta say, it's such a supportive organization. For those of you that don't know the Global Chamber, you should check it out. The Global Chamber is just that. When people ask me, what is it? I said, that's what it is. It's so simple. It's global, and it's helping men, women do business internationally. I'm on the board of the LA chapter and advisor here in New York. And it's just a beautiful thing, because this is to me, it's an easy way to connect with great people like Pinky and start to do business with each other. So I wanted to just mention that, because I'm really thankful and grateful for that. But question is, when I asked you to be on the podcast and we met, and I said, I have JS Media and then I have Warrior Women, what does the term Warrior Women mean to you?
I always look at, well, the word warrior for me, I love, because I think, you know, we're all powerful women. And as a warrior, I think that's within itself a community. So those words come out to me, powerful community, and just building each other up. And it really stands, like your poster just describes it all, the superhero in me. I always look at that word imposter syndrome, the words imposter syndrome, and think, how can you turn that into your superpower? How can you, because you are feeling like you're the only one, or you feel like you don't belong, or you feel like you don't deserve it, how can you turn that into your superpower? What makes you different? What makes you unique? Well, then use that and make it your superpower.
Yeah, it's really true though. I mean, I was thinking yesterday, and I think we might have talked about it on your podcast. I'm not sure. I've been so busy lately, but I was thinking about the fact that they always say it's lonely at the top, right? But it's
Yeah.
lonely being an entrepreneur. Maybe you're not at the top yet, and but I think it's okay. I feel like it's okay, and it might mean, like you said, that means that you're starting to own your leadership, you're starting to own your superpower. So I
Yeah.
think that I have a lot of female entrepreneurs that I work with, know, and a lot of times they express that issue. So I think
Mm.
instead of it being an issue, I love that you talked about that piece, the difference becoming your superpower and kind of owning that in a positive light. So thank you for that. Okay, so I know all of my guests have the opportunity to give away a free gift to my Warrior Women growing audience, which I'm very thankful for my audience. Pinky, what would you like to give to my audience today?
I would love to give you a half-an-hour discovery call with me to see how I can help you overcome imposter syndrome, any of the issues you might be having around that, anxiety, fear. You can have a look at that on www.bypinky.com.
Okay, wonderful. Yes, that's a great gift. And I'm gonna put all your links in the show notes. So we edit the podcast, and we'll issue, and for those of you that are not on our newsletter list, please subscribe at warriorwomenbusiness.com. But anyway, so it'll all be in the show notes. Also, any events that Pinky has coming up. And I'm very serious about doing a joint event with you. I'm not afraid to jump on a plane and get to London or Edinburgh. So
I'm up for that. You just let me know when you're coming and I'm there. Are you not coming to London in the next few weeks?
no, I'm going. Oh, thank you for being my lead into my next sentence. No, coming in, look, the end of July, early August. I'm running an event in LA, Beverly Hills, which I actually was going to bring up, July 18th. So it's a very, not June, no, definitely not. It's a very busy schedule. So a few things. So all of what Pinky offers, including thank you for the free gift, her events, her websites, more information about her will be in the show notes. We're Women in Business. We have a few things coming up in June, which is this month, right? We are planning a couple of events that are literally in the planning stages right now that will be in New York City because that's where we are right now. One that we're planning is going to be a joint event with our last guest who did a great job on grounding us during Mental Health Awareness Month. So it's going to be a very cool event that's going to help women that are saying to themselves, I want to spend my summer to build my business and I need to do it, but I need to do it alone or I don't have the tools. So we're going to help you do that. We're going to be announcing that event. We're also going to be announcing a fun shopping event. Everyone knows that I love fashion. So we're going to be doing a shopping event with one of our other partners at the beach in New York. So that's coming up. Yep, we're going to be announcing that. And in July, I want to talk about that for a second because we have people, hopefully I don't know if they're watching now because it's pretty early. It's 9 a.m. their time. But I'm a very active member and very thankful member of the Beverly Hills Chamber of Commerce and their Women's Business Network. I'm going to be speaking there July 18th. It's a Tuesday. And then I am co-hosting an event at one of the Beverly Hills top restaurants. It's a free event. We're going to have up to 150 women. We're going to have food, drink, education. It's going to be our first Warrior Women event in Beverly Hills. I'm so excited about it. So for my West Coast people, you can find out about that. And then in August, yes, I am planning my trip to the UK. So Pinky and I will be talking about doing something. I'm going to let her lead it because I don't know that geography too well. So we will figure that one out. I'm sure it'll be very fun. Yes. And so we're Women in Business. Again, we air every Wednesday live, 12 p.m. New York time, 9 a.m. West Coast, 5 p.m. UK. I don't know what time it is in Asia, but it might be the next day. And we essentially we provide events, the podcast through our parent company, JS Media, which is a branding and business development agency. And our whole mission is really to help female entrepreneurs grow, whether you're an artist, you're a new entrepreneur, you've been in the game for a long time and you're struggling. This is what we do. And we do it through different events, programs, and we really do also rely on our partners. So if you're a woman that has a global organization and you're looking to collaborate, please reach out to me, Jasmine Sandler, or Warrior Women in Business. And I want to thank Pinky so much for being on in the evening. I know she's a busy woman and giving us a lot of great, I think, inspiration about collaboration and information that's going to help women move forward. So please don't hesitate to reach out to Pinky and Netwomen. With that being said, we're signing off for episode 41. Episode 42 is coming up next Wednesday with female embodiment expert Sandy Sandler. Please do not miss this episode. If you're having trouble in your personal relationships, your marriage, you're getting in your own way and you're really struggling, she has helped women around the world. So please join us next Wednesday at noon. Signing off, episode 41.